Hey everyone, Demon Knight here, and in this video I want to show you guys my Explosive Enforcer Wilhelm build. And as the name already says, this build is focused around explosive damage. So the items I have on this build are the Laser Discer as the main weapon, and this weapon is extremely powerful on Wilhelm, obviously because it gets the explosive damage from his class mod, but also because it gets the damage from laser focus and also the extra magazine size. And the magazine size really helps the throw reload of it, and you'll get a lot of damage out of this weapon. Then a Phrygia to freeze enemies, obviously, which is also really great because Cryo boosts explosive damage. Then a Ravager, a glitch Ravager here, just because it's a great explosive weapon, and I went with an overcharge and multi-shot glitch on this weapon because I think those work the best with this weapon, and same with the Spitter, just a great explosive weapon, and this one has the loop and multi-shot glitch. Then a Bulwark, because of more laser disco damage. A Transfusion to heal myself. The Howitzer class mod because of the explosive damage. The critical hit damage isn't really that great on explosive weapons because I'm not going to hit too many critical hits with these, especially not with the laser disco because it can score crits. But it still helps, and the skills it boosts aren't necessarily the best skills Wilhelm has, but they're still really powerful, but I'll get to them when I go over the spec. And then an explosive duality Ors kit, because I'm in Warrago Solitude here, so I'll get the vacuum bonus here, which is explosive damage. But I guess if you're in an atmosphere you could use the Eddy for more laser disco damage, or a grenade damage Ors kit, or just a gun damage Ors kit right here. But yeah, I'm going to use this one here. And then the spec, I went only with 1 out of 5 in targeting scope because, as I said, I'm not going to hit too many critical hits, but the accuracy does help the Ravager, so it's definitely worth putting a point in here to get the boost. And instead I've put the points into first to fight, because this is only 5 seconds, but plus 72% gun damage is really powerful. And also here escalation, also only 4 out of 5 because again it's a critical hit damage boost. Then laser guided here really helps because it multiplies the explosive damage, which already is multiplicative, so you'll have 2 different multiplicative boosts here, and you'll get a lot of damage out of that. Power Fist also gets boosted, so this is going to be really powerful as well, just as Termination Protocols here. And then I also went with kinetic armor here for more explosive damage, so this is just a pure explosive spec. So yeah, it's basically my explosive enforcer build. So let's go through this map with this build here. And as you can see here, this build definitely deals a lot of damage. Especially if you have laser guided on an enemy, you will most likely just one-shot them. And if not, you can one-shot them with the throw reload of the laser disco here. And that's because with this build you'll have 2 different multiplicative boosts. For one you have your explosive boosts here, and then that also gets multiplied by laser guided, and that just makes for some insane damage. And the laser disco is definitely the best weapon to use on this build, because as you can see here, it's just one-shotting these trash mobs here. And if there's something that you won't one-shot with this weapon, you will most likely kill it with 2 or 3 shots, and if not, you can just throw reload it, and that should kill it. Especially with that extra magazine size from laser focus. So let's get some oxygen here, and then we'll head over here. I guess this build is pretty much kinda the explosive version of my Scorcher build, which I also made a video about previously. But this right here, I'd say this is one of Wilhelm's stronger builds, at least for mobbing. Actually, I don't want to go down there. I kind of want to loop around the map here, so we'll go over here. And I'll also use some other weapons, so let's use the Ravager here. And that guy in there somehow managed to stay alive, but we just don't care about him. So the Ravager, obviously also a very powerful weapon. The reason why I'm not using a Flacker on this build is because Wilhelm's skill Afterburner right here gives you bullet speed, and that kinda messes with the spread pattern of the Flacker. So without that skill you can obviously use the Flacker because it's an amazing shotgun in this game. But yeah, for pretty much every other weapon on this build, you want that bullet speed because torque weapons in general have pretty slow projectiles. The laser disco has a slow projectile and rocket launchers have slow projectiles, so generally it just makes more sense to not use the Flacker and spec into Afterburn. Alright, so let's go over here. And I guess I'll also use the Spitter here a bit. Over there should be more enemies. So the Spitter right here, not quite as strong as the other two weapons obviously, but still very powerful. Especially if the glitches kick in. Like the loop glitch we have right here. Alright. What's kind of funny right now is that we have this walking animation from what's the name skill? Shock absorbers. We have that animation right now, but I actually don't even have that skill. So yeah, as you can see, definitely no problem just walking through here. We're kinda running low on oxygen because I'm using a mouse kit with not very high oxygen resources. Alright, so let's use the laser disco a bit more. This area is not going to be quite as good because here's this big oxygen bubble. Let's see if we can turn it off. That's kind of what annoys me a bit about OS kits that only get a bonus if you're either in an atmosphere or in a vacuum. Because if you just enter a oxygen bubble like this one right here, you'll lose the bonus. That's kinda annoying in my opinion. I think it would have been a bit better if it was just maybe not atmosphere and vacuum, but instead inside and outside. So if you're in a map that's outside like this one, you'll get the outside bonus, and if it's a map that's completely inside like Hyperion Hub of Heroism for example, then you'll get the other bonus. Or just generally make only OS kits with one bonus. I think that would have been a bit better, but that's just my opinion. And regardless, we are still wrecking face with this build. So let's jump over here and kill the um, guardians in that area, and then that should be a fine example of this showcase video, of this build rather. Maybe just use a melee attack for the fun. Yeah, so as you could see there, Power Fist is also really strong with this build. Even without a build like this, you can just one-shot badasses if they're frozen, which is pretty cool, and with this build you'll just deal insane amounts of damage. But yeah, anyway, that's my explosive enforcer build for Wilhelm right here. Again, my gear here, the spec, and obviously no bar. So thanks for watching everyone, and see you in the next video.